know our next guest from The Vampire Diaries, How to Get Away with Murder, and his role as Nathan in HBO's Insecure. Please welcome Kendrick Sampson!
Thank you very much.
It feels so weird because this was not like our vernacular back in the day, but I was binging you all last night. I wanted to catch up on everything that's happening in season 5 in Insecure. We're approaching the season finale.
The season finale is coming up. Series finale.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, series finale.
You guys just do such a phenomenal job at showing how human beings function.
Yeah. What's so beautiful about Insecure is it's baked into the title. You have to explore those gray areas that make us human, and that is the best part of it to me. That is, you know.
So well said.
You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful to explore that. That is our humanity.
I feel so connected to, I don't even want to say their characters. Also, she does that brilliant Judd Apatow thing where, you know, you use like real names, so it kind of transcends. You're like, who's the real person, who's the character?
Right.
Which is great because, I mean, there's a reason that people do that, because you want to break down the barriers of the sort of fraudulence of acting and make it more realistic and relatable. And you guys do that so well on the show.
Yeah, you know what? I think about her a lot with, you know, Will Smith, right? With Fresh Prince, because it was his name, and
That's
we
right.
were trying. It had a hard time dissociating, you know, him from the character. And I think that's bled into all the other characters as well, because I get called Nathan all the time. It's usually somebody yelling at me for what I did to Issa, and then I have to remind them, me and Issa have a great relationship. You know, we text all the time, we're good. You know, I'm not Nathan, please don't.
But also, okay, like, so you ghosted her, is that what they're upset about?
There's ghosting, there's bad communication, there's also just the fact that people have teams, you know, relationship teams.
You know, but then it's like she put you in the friend zone. When she cries into your mouth, by the way, is like one of my favorite things in the world. I don't know what it is about women, but if it's like been a while or like we're just vulnerable, like we usually cry like during a makeout, and I know we all just want to say like, I'm sorry, this isn't representative of all the feelings I'm feeling. You're like, I'm feeling so many feelings.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. It's a little awkward. How do you navigate it?
It doesn't happen every time, but it does happen.
Right.
And I was happy to see that represented in a show. I don't normally see that. It's like the hot sex scene is not how it goes every single time. I'm sorry. We're humans. They're so complex. We're such intricate creatures. I don't even know how we keep ourselves uncracked like a little egg every day.
I think that's beautiful. That's the essential part of that show that makes it so beautiful, is those realistic situations where you feel like it's a voyeuristic experience, and it's always going to be what you don't expect.
Well, I root for you, too, because your backstory really spoke to me as someone who started young in this business. Hello, diapers. When you were 10 years old, you told your mom something.
Yeah, I told my mom I wanted to act. And she was like, here's the Houston Chronicle. Find an agent. So I flipped through the newspaper and I found some ads with agencies on them. I called them up and they called back my mom, obviously, because I didn't have my own phone. And we're like, your 10-year-old son is setting up an appointment to come in and interview for an agent. You know, is this okay? And she's like, yeah, as long as he does the work. And that's how she's always been. She says, if you do the work, I'll support it. And I did. And
then you moved to LA. And you struggled.
Oh, yeah. When I was 18, I moved to LA, and I got all my ducks in a row. I was like, I'm gonna get this apartment, I'm gonna get whatever. It wasn't an apartment, it was a room in somebody's house, which was very weird for me coming from Texas, but I got kicked out. And within a month, not even a month, and I had to live out of my car for a couple months, going from place to place on people's couches, you know, whatever, have my whole life packed up in the back of my car. And finally, you know, I had met this woman in church who a lot of people think is my biological grandma because we look just alike, you know, and we've spent so much time together. I lived with her for 5-6 years. and she was my roommate. Met her in church. She knew I didn't have anybody. I might shed a little tear because she passed last year because of COVID in December, so it's coming up on the anniversary. But I didn't have anybody to celebrate my birthday with, so she made me a meal for my birthday, and that's when she offered if I could stay with her for a while I get back on my feet. And, then it was 5 beautiful years after that. That was my roommate, my 88, 89, 90-year-old roommate, and it kept going. And
what is her name?
Yeah. So
you called her a name,
yeah,
but she has another name. What was your name?
Her name is Honora, but she told me, and this is the funny thing, she told me when I moved in, I'm trying not to cry. She told me when I moved in that I couldn't call her by her name. I had to call her something else. Everybody else calls her mom or has some sort of endearing nickname for her. I'm from the country. I'm like, all right. It took me forever, and she also couldn't remember my name. So she would just sometimes look at me and go, She called me Kenneth. She called me Kendall. She called me Henry. She called me everything. And I would just do the same thing because I didn't know what to call her but her name. Miss Honora or something, Mrs. Honora or something, So I would go, Excuse me, And then finally I thought about it and I'm like, I'm country, my grandma had passed a couple years before, so Mama was freed up. And I started calling her Mama. And now there are so many people in LA who don't know her name. They just know Mama.
Mama.
Yeah.
I think your mom and Mama are these wonderful angels.
Oh, yeah.
Who gave you these incredible values.
Yeah.
And we root for you all the more because you took not the path of least resistance. You took the hard road.
I'll say this. When I moved to LA, I had an intention of connecting with black folks more because there was so much racism in the industry and in Texas, and I thought I was going to get to LA and there would be no racism or less racism. I was fooled, but I was surrounded by all these amazing black women who introduced me to black male figures that would, inspire me and make sure that I was fed and introduce me to families and such. And it's exactly what you said. I learned nothing more than you have to be really intentional about building your community around you based in good values. Because and it has to be rooted in liberation, because their whole objective with me was to make sure that I was fed, that I was cared for, and that I was more liberated than they were coming up. And there's nothing else that I have nothing else to credit to my success, because they created the environment that I could grow in.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for teaching us. So much of it is, again, sharing our stories and matriculating that life experience. Everybody has a story to tell. Thank you for sharing every bit of yours, and we are rooting you on alongside of it. Thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate
Kendrick Sampson, the final episode of Insecure, the groundbreaking show, The Goddess Issa Rae, will air next Sunday, December 26th on HBO, and it's available to stream on HBO Max, of course. Oh, I don't want this show to go away, but I'm so glad it gave us all these years of what it did.